Okay. Hey, right. So I'm going to get started. It's 1 minute past 5. So thank you very much, everyone, for turning up. There you guys are. You're there, not over there. Still getting used to this. Anyway, thank you very much for turning up to my Stop Smoking Today webinar. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Ben. I have been a smoker for just over 20 years. I was a smoker for 20 years. A very nasty addiction. I would call it an addiction. Some people call it a habit, but I can show you that it is an addiction. And a very clever one. We're brainwashed and very subtly brainwashed in society to give great importance to cigarettes. I'll tell you a little bit about how I became a smoker. I actually smoked my first cigarette when I was 13. I had been at a park playing football, American football actually, with some friends, and we found this cigarette in the grass, and we took it home like it was some, like unbreakable, magical thing. And we took it back to my friend's house, and most people were not interested. And another friend of mine and I decided we would sneak downstairs and smoke it. And strangely enough, I don't know if it'd been because it'd been outside or something, but it wasn't very strong. I was expecting to cough and to explode, because everyone had told me, my teachers, my parents had told me that these things were so bad that why would anyone want to smoke them? Because they make you cough, they make your breath smell. And we were told this. But after I smoked the first one, which wasn't that bad actually, so I thought, well, maybe there's not much to it then. Maybe these people are lying to me. Obviously, at the age of 13, I was not able to buy any, and I didn't smoke again until I was nearly 16 actually. And some friends at school said that they had got some cigarettes, and we snuck out of school down to the woods. The woods is a big part of my life. Lots of things happened in these woods, but that's for another day. And we took this pack of cigarettes down, and we started, making it. It became a regular thing. On lunchtime, we'd sneak out of school and go and smoke this cigarette. Now, those were, when I look back, they were not the most enjoyable tasting, the most but the excitement was there. I think that's what it was. This excitement of kind of breaking the rules, doing something that we shouldn't be doing, but actually not getting a great amount of pleasure from the actual cigarette. It was more about the things around it. And soon you start to realize that this is not an activity that you can miss. And despite wanting to do other things, the need for this, for the smoking, for the nicotine replenishment almost in your system becomes overwhelming, and you are now smoking because you have to. You get a sort of, it's like a monster inside your stomach, a tightness in your chest, and you believe that the only thing that can relieve that is cigarette smoke. And so as I got a bit older, 16, 17, I started buying my own cigarettes, and I was convinced that, I could stop any time. Older friends would brag. They say, oh, but it's fine. I'm going to smoke until I'm 21, and then I will give up. So I started to believe that it was just something that you could do and decide when you'd stop. It didn't seem to affect. I played a lot of sport when I was younger. I mean, I still do, but I played a lot of sport. I played in football teams, basketball teams, and everyone said it makes you, winded and all this. So I just thought, well, I'm not noticing anything. I'm still running around, and obviously at that age, and so early on in my smoking career, as it were, I didn't notice the sort of these effects of them. So again, you sort of, whatever the teachers told me, the parents told me, they were lying, and I can keep doing this because, I can give up whenever I want. I'm not an addict. And that's the sort of running theme. You believe that you're not an addict, and that you can give up these things whenever you want. And soon you create a sort of daily habit, a daily rhythm, I guess. It goes, just wake up in the morning, usually have a cigarette before breakfast with a cup of coffee, cup of tea. Then you have your breakfast, and then another one afterwards. And I got into the sort of habit, I guess, or the sort of timetable of smoking between 6 and 7 cigarettes a day. Obviously, when I started drinking alcohol, that number would go up. And yeah, so through even through university, I maintained a sort of 6 to 7 cigarettes a day, and never believing that it was doing a great deal of harm to me. Soon after 3, 4, 5 years, I'd start to notice that in basketball I was struggling a bit. I could tell I was not at the peak of my fitness, but you come up with reasons and excuses in your own mind to push those away, and you just sort of think that it's probably something else, So as this habit, or I'm not going to call it a habit, as this addiction takes hold, you soon are you're building these pathways of association in your mind. You are associating that cigarette with good times, that cigarette in the morning with a coffee. Any of you smokers out there will know there's some magical combination going on there. They even made a film about it called Cigarettes and Coffee. And that association is something that is ingrained in you. Smoking beer on a terrace in the sun, those summer days, there's all these beautiful moments that you are associating with cigarettes, and you start to believe that when you start to think that you want to give up, you start to believe that those times won't be as good and as exciting without your little friend. And so the fear, it's fear of missing out, of things not being as good as they are with your cigarette. So one thing I want to share with you, I don't know if there are any cigarette smokers with us today. Is anyone out there smoking cigarettes at the moment? Philip, kind of. There's a lot of people I can't see. Anyone else smoke tobacco? No? Well, so anyway, Philip, I'll talk to you here. I'm going to get you to click in if that's all right. Tell me about your smoking habit, please.
Well, I think pretty similar to you. Started smoking was cool, and it was like you're breaking the rules, right? Mm-hmm. And honestly, like, I kind of don't consider myself addicted, because I've gone through bits when I don't smoke for long periods, and then I'll be going out having a beer with my friends, and I'll just have to have a cigarette then. And then I basically stopped for more or less a year, and then carried on for a year, and then stopped for a year, and kind of started up again recently whilst on this course. And I'll have, maybe a couple a day.
Okay. And is that, let me guess, you're smoking on this course because it's a little bit stressful, and you think,
yeah, it's like a good little motivator. Like, I'll be like, I'll get a bit of work done, then I'll have a smoke as like a little treat.
Okay, like reward system, that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So if you're only smoking a couple a day, would you say when's your first cigarette? What's the earliest that you would normally smoke a cigarette in a day?
Sometimes maybe at like 10, in the morning. Okay. But usually afternoon, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right. Okay. So so you're not a habitual smoker.
No.
You're a sort of, some might call it a social smoker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, do you when you're abstaining, like that year that you took off, how many times do you think you thought about smoking in that year?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were sort of fighting. You were saying, I have to stop. I have to stop myself. Were you fighting yourself?
I found it strange because there's like two levels to it. There's a psychological and a physical addiction.
Hmm.
Physical addiction, you break through after a few days. You don't feel like you need it, or else you're you're going to die if you don't have one right now. But there's still psychological addiction that lingers for months, where you're just like, oh, it's kind of late in the evening. I'm having a drink. Oh, it'd be nice to have a little smoke now.
Yeah.
And that was the difficult part for me, because even when I was, not smoking, not even thinking about it for a few days, we'll get to like a, party atmosphere with a couple of friends, and then we just feel like I would really enjoy a cigarette right now.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this. If, say that you get that I really like a cigarette now, and you decide that you don't want one, how long does that craving last? How long does that last? That kind of desire that I really like one now, but I'm not going to. Is it like constantly battering away at you for the next hour, for the next 6 hours, or does it pass fairly quickly?
Depends. If I make a decision like I'm not going to smoke now, then I think it would probably go within a few minutes or maybe a bit longer. But normally, if it's there, if it's lingering, and if I have access to it, then I'll just say, fuck it, I'll have one.
Okay. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now this, as you correctly said, after about 3 days, that kind of physical addiction feels like it's gone. And you'll notice probably that first cigarette, say after a year of not smoking, what was that first cigarette like? The first one you smoked after a year's break? Do you remember?
I don't know, like it's strange because sometimes they're more satisfying than other times. Sometimes you'll have one and you'll get like a head rush and you need to sit down, and then you feel like, oh, that was so good. But sometimes when you're smoking regularly, it's just like, why am I even smoking this? I don't feel anything. It's just crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. So yeah, I always found that I've given up about 6 times, I think, over my life. The first attempt was when I was 23, I think, 22, 23. And I was in Japan, and I read a book by Alan Carr, Stop, Give Up Smoking, The Easy Way. And I did it. I was given up smoking. And a friend of mine said, well, why are you giving up smoking now? Because in Japan it's very cheap, and you could just smoke until you leave Japan and then give up when you go back to England. And I was only about 6 weeks away from going back to England. So I thought, okay, fuck it, as you say. I'm going to just do that. I'm going to do what she says. And that was that little monster, it wasn't the nicotine monster in there, because he'd gone. 3 weeks is about the time that nicotine leaves your body completely. So it wasn't that, it was the psychological aspect and the, oh, why not? And it convinced me to smoke that first one. And that first one was horrible. I remember the taste was horrible, gave me a head rush, but that was it. I was back into the loop, because it is a loop. That man, Alan Carr, one thing he said, it's like putting on a pair of tight shoes, so you can enjoy the feeling you get when you take them off. And that's basically what you're doing. You're building up the level of nicotine in your body, so then it starts to deplete, and that's the pain you're feeling, that depletion of like anxiety because the nicotine's leaving your body. And then you light up the cigarette, and that's you taking those shoes off. But also ultimately you're just creating a cycle which just feeds the next cigarette. The last cigarette you smoke has boosted your levels to then get that withdrawal symptoms, which forces you, makes you want to have that next cigarette. So one thing, we need to kind of break that psychological association. And there's lots of things. You've mentioned that beer on the terrace, and I said like a coffee in the morning. What are the things that kind of kick you off in that associate, like, what makes a cigarette a good one? What times is the cigarette a better one for you?
social activity with a couple of friends in a pub or something, and you've got a beer and you've got your friends, and maybe some of the other ones are also smokers, and well, I mean, you just have a cigarette, you have your beer, you have your friends, and it's just the perfect trinity, right?
Yeah.
I think just that kind of socializing with friends, pub atmosphere, that always triggers it. But then also, after a long day, with a coffee, mostly social kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try it because you're not already. I had a little exercise. Well, I'll tell you about this one exercise. I'm trying to think of one for you more personally. It was more for people in the morning. One way to kind of break that, because it's a sort of trodden path, isn't it? And you've created these pathways in your brain which are connecting these these pieces of your life. It's pub, friends, cigarette, boom, boom, boom. Coffee in the morning, cigarette. And these things you will do probably more often than anything else, apart from waking up. You'll do them if you're a regular smoker. Those pathways are trodden more than going to the gym to exercise. You might do that twice a week. You might do that once a month. I don't know, but you don't do it every day. Going to work, you don't do that every day either. You've got your weekends off, your holidays. But this smoking is every single day if you're a regular smoker like I was. And these associations, we need to just break them and make you realize that actually you don't need your cigarettes to enjoy your friends or to enjoy your night in the pub. So one thing that I'd like, anyone can do this. This is a great way to start the morning. If you're a tea drinker, a coffee drinker. So instead of having your cigarette and your coffee in the morning, you can try this. It's very simple. You take a lemon, freshly squeeze the lemon, grate some ginger, and add boiling water. And you just make a nice infusion. The lemon is, excuse me, is what's the word? The ginger is anti-inflammatory, and the lemon is a good start. It's good for your digestive system. You do this before you eat. You do this on an empty stomach in the morning, and try and lose that connection to have your first cigarette. Then if you need to have one again at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, go for it, have it, okay? But just something to try to break up that rhythm, to break up the, the pathway in the morning and that association. Another thing that we need to be aware of is that you are not going to be missing anything. You seriously are not going to be missing anything. And this is the tricky part, because especially now in England, over here as well, in most countries now, smoking indoors is not permitted anymore. Now, when I was growing up, we all smoked in the pub. So non-smokers were obviously smoking secondhandly, but they never missed the conversation. Now, how many people have been in the pub and half the group have gone outside and the other half have stayed inside? The smokers outside having one conversation and the non-smokers. Has anyone had that feeling, that kind of separation? Yeah. So what if I could tell you there's a way that you can actually go outside with your friends, be with the smokers, and actually enjoy being a non-smoker with them?
I'd say you're crazy.
Honestly, it is so simple to get out there, and you just have to pity your friends. I know it, but you go, and next time you're out in the pub or whatever, go outside to the little smoking area or whatever they have now. I haven't been in an English pub for a long time, and just watch the smokers carefully. Choose one and watch them from a distance, because they get a bit freaked out if you're a bit too close staring at them. But keep an eye on them and watch how they smoke, and are they actually enjoying it? Look at their face. Look at the speed that they're bringing this to their mouth, how they blow out the smoke. I mean, are they rolling around that tobacco smoke in their mouth? Do you do that when you taste it? Is it about the taste, Philip? Do you love the taste of tobacco?
Yeah, I like the taste.
You do like the taste. I want you to be sure about that. Next time you smoke a cigarette, okay, I want you to take in a deep lungful. You're going to do this 6 times, okay? You're going to take in a deep lungful, and I want you to concentrate on the feeling in your nostrils, in your on your tongue, around your teeth, and how it goes into your lungs and then comes out. I want you to consciously smoke a cigarette. Don't do anything else. Don't drink a pint. Don't read a book. Don't watch TV. Just go and find somewhere and consciously smoke a cigarette, okay? So completely focused on it, and taste. What does it taste like? And let me know. Thank you, Thomas. He's blowing smoke in my face, if anyone was not watching. So Thomas, I want to hear from Thomas. Thomas, tell me what this thank you, Philip. Thank you very much. Thomas, please tell me. I've seen you smoking cigarettes and this funny stick you've got in your hand. Tell me what that is, please.
This is electronic cigarette.
Okay. And what does that taste like?
This is mango flavor.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I have many flavors. So
okay.
it's nicotine. It's nicotine. You know, it's still addictive, but at least there's no tar like a cigarette.
Right.
I've been smoking for 30 years, and this is the first time I change. So no tobaccos. It's chemical.
Yes.
Yeah, by changing to the vape, actually I find that I smoke lesser. Lesser, and I feel, yeah, it's totally different because I don't wake up with a dry throat. You know, I don't cough so often now. And cigarette is bad definitely because it gives you a lot of problems, health problem. I used to cough a lot. You know, then you get dry throats, you get sore throat every time. And because my job, I'm a hairdresser, I'm always very close contact with my customers. So every time when I have a cigarette, I have to go and wash my mouth, drink some water, wash my hands. So to me, I'm kind of lazy. So I changed to this no smell. And then now I smell nice. I smell like a mango now.
Okay. Now, I saw you. Sorry.
So you tell me, how can your program helps me?
How can my program help me? I saw you the other day. You were vaping the other day, and then halfway through the meeting, you lit a cigarette, a normal one. So you're having both, man.
So you took notice. That's good.
Yeah. I noticed. I take great notice of my potential customers.
Yeah. That was when I was in the airport because there are so many mosquitoes. So I had to light my cigarette.
Okay. You know there's candles for that do a lot less harm.
Yeah.
I can give you a recipe for making a spray with cloves and oil. It's very nice. My wife.
Okay. You should convince me. Why should I give up my vaping too?
Okay. Now I think Hannah's going to tell you because I think I've read things where we're convinced that, or we've been told that vaping is safe, but I think Hannah, I saw her mouthing it's worse. Is that not right, Hannah? Could you tell me?
Unfortunately, it's so much worse. A lot of studies have come out now. The chemicals, we have a lot of glands here. We have that go into our endocrine system, and it damages your thyroid. It goes straight. You know how sometimes they give you sublingual medicine because it acts so fast? Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. We have membranes in our mouth that the vaping chemicals go through immediately, and they go into our glands in the sides of our face and our throat, and they go straight into the thyroid, and they create adrenal fatigue, amongst other things. That's the way they begin. But then they accumulate in the body, and then the liver cannot process, and it starts creating a whole new host of problems, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So how does that make you feel, Thomas? Hearing that, Philip, did you hear that? How does that make you feel, Thomas, when you hear like that sort of negative negative news about smoking? And does that make
I think smokers are people who are, actually, if you smoke for a certain period of time, whatever reports you hear, whatever stories you hear, you are not scared until you see something that makes you frightened. I have friends that have their brothers suffer from lung cancer, liver failures, and they saw the pain of the loved ones, and that makes them quit immediately, straight away. The next day, nothing. They just quit because they see it. But when you hear it, like reports, even you watch on YouTube's, or the lungs, or the heart things, for a smoker, it's like, nah, you don't care. You just want to enjoy your life, until somebody that is really close to you suffer something that will make you change. So I'm not expecting any of my loved ones to suffer anything. I ever quit smoking for 7 months. But I still get back to it, And going back to smoking after quitting for 7 months is more difficult than stop smoking. Because it takes a lot of courage again to light that stick of cigarette again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I give in to the devil. Yeah.
I know, but it's very easy to do. It's very easy to do. It's very easy. It takes courage, but it is very easy to do because you're not prepared for those. It can be anything. It can be something silly, like you just at a friend's wedding, and you've not smoked for 7 months, but you say, "Come on, we're celebrating. Have a cigar. Just have one. It's a special day." And you think, "Oh, I just have one." And it kicks off the whole the chain again, doesn't it? For me, my biggest I'm just going to silence you, Thomas, because it's a bit clicky. It's the thing that always made me fail every single time, except for my friend telling me to why not smoke for the last 6 weeks that you're in Japan. Every other time that I stopped smoking, the reason I started again was because I wanted a joint, and a friend had a joint, and I said, "Oh, I just really want to smoke a bit of weed or a bit of hashish," and I smoked that joint. Now those joints were made with tobacco, and that initial joint I could smoke. The next day I didn't want to smoke anything else. I was fine. It was it was a Sunday or whatever, and that Sunday I would go through the whole day and wouldn't bother me. And I could go for the whole week. But the next weekend, I'll be like, "Oh, I had a joint last week. I'm going to have another one today, this weekend." And I'd smoke another one. And before I knew it, I'd make up some excuse that because of the nicotine, not because of the marijuana, because I've been for years without marijuana. That's not the addictive part. It's the nicotine in the tobacco. And on Wednesday, I'd come up with an excuse. "Oh, I'm going to have a joint today because I did really well at work." And your brain creates these excuses, and you celebrate by having one on Wednesday. And then soon you're having one on Wednesdays, and then Saturdays, and then one on Monday. And soon I'm smoking a joint every day. And now I've got a problem because I'm stoned every day and I'm not getting stuff done. So the only solution is to start smoking tobacco again, cigarettes, normal cigarettes, because I need something. I need something at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning before I go to work. And then I couldn't, I was a primary school teacher. I couldn't go in stoned for that. So that's how that cycle comes back in, and how we sort of go into this thing. So anyway, what I want to do for you, whether you are a 20-a-day smoker, whether you are a somebody who's smoking irregularly, actually the people who smoke irregularly, like Philip there, probably suffer the most because it's a constant battle. They're having to constantly fight to not smoke because of one part of them, they know it's not doing them any good, but so they're using their willpower to stay off, and your willpower can easily break, and there is a much easier way. And because I just know, like, I'm completely convinced that I know I'm not going to smoke again, and I know that down on every single level, and that means I'm not fighting anything. I'm rejoicing. I celebrate every day that I'm free, and I know I'm not missing anything. And that's where I want to get you to that place where you can just move on with your life and not worry about any situation, whether it's getting drunk with your friends, whether it's having your coffee in the morning. And that's what I'm offering today is a 8-week course on stopping smoking. You're not giving up anything. Now, that's very important as well to remember, that you are not giving up anything. You are actually only got 100 things to gain. I can do the maths for you. I think, Philip, tell me, how much is a pack of 20 cigarettes in the UK at the moment?
I think about £12.
You're joking.
Yeah, they keep going up. I think they were £8 last year or a few years ago. Now they're like 12 or something. Just keep going up.
Okay, so 20-a-day smokers, watch out. That is an expensive habit. But that really isn't the most amazing thing you have to gain from it. It's not financial. It's your health levels. It's your energy levels. It's everything. You feel so much lighter. So for £12 a pack, this program should be a lot more expensive, but it's usually €97. Sorry, 97 euros. It's down at 37 as an introductory price. It's just an 8-week program. That the first 4 weeks, don't worry, you don't have to give up smoking. I'm going to encourage you. I want you to smoke for the first 4 weeks. I want you to be really conscious. You'll go through looking at all the aspects of smoking and why you smoke, and why it's actually not something that is difficult to give up, and something you should be celebrating and being joyous in. That's not the right word, but being joyful for. And then for the second part of the program, we will find the best time for you to smoke your ultimate and final cigarette. And from there, it is just being aware of your personal trip ups, and that's all you need to become aware of, what's going to trip you up in the future, and how you can get free completely for good. So for 37 euros, I'm not asking for much. And even today, I've got another 10 euros off. If you use the code that I'm going to put in the chat right now, you will save another 10 euros. So it's a no-brainer. And if you, at the end of the program, if you start smoking again, I'll give you your money back. Seriously, I don't need your money. I want to help you stop smoking. And if you don't stop smoking, then I won't have done my job, and I don't deserve to get paid. Seriously. So you've got nothing to lose. There's the link. There's the code. You put that in. 27 euros. Try it. It's going to be 8 weeks. You just follow my instructions, and you'll be free. Okay? Any questions? Philip?
Yeah, but Ben, I like smoking and it feels good, and I don't care that I'm harming myself and I'm addicted, and how am I supposed to fight all of these things I just said that's in my head? It's like, fuck it, I'm gonna die, I don't care, it feels good, I want to do it, right? How can I fight that?
Don't fight it. Accept it for what it is. Do you honestly like smoking. Now that's what I want you to do. That's your task. That's why I want you to go and smoke those cigarettes consciously. Don't do anything else. Because with a cold beer that numbs your throat, yeah, cigarettes do taste much better and they're much easier to get in. But I want you to, the best time, let's wake up. I want you to wake up early, 7 o'clock, go and smoke that cigarette at 7:30 in the morning, dry, with no water, and taste it. Taste it for what it is, and then get back to me. Tell me how much you love it then.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, please, Hannah.
So it's a lot of subliminal programming that is going on that we need to wake up to, because, for example, when I was 12 years old, I smoked my first cigarette and it tasted like death. And I thought it was disgusting, but the adverts about the sexy woman holding the cigarette in her hand, making her so attractive, fueled my desire to have a cigarette. And it was about the holding the cigarette. It was about how interesting I would look to others. And it became a whole thing. If I would smoke 8 cigarettes a day, I would be dying at night the next morning. And what happened to me is that I wanted to become a professional dancer. And my desire to become a dancer was greater than becoming interesting smoking a cigarette. However, I catch myself saying, I've never touched a cigarette since I think I stopped smoking when I was 18, but I didn't really smoke. 8 cigarettes a day for somebody who smokes. My cousin smokes 2 packs a day and has been smoking 2 packs a day for over 30 years.
Wow.
And she has problems with, oh my God, she has physical problems that I cannot begin. So, but I catch myself being a programmed little being when I say, I don't like beer either. I don't like the taste of beer. My grandmother started giving me beer when I was 5. She would give me Tecate beers with lime and salt, like before lunch and everything, to supposedly open my appetite because I didn't eat enough to her liking. And I would be so tired drinking limes that I would give her the can of beer completely, like with this much. I had 2 sips. And so I don't like beer, but I find myself saying, oh my God, if I drank beer, right now would be a perfect time to drink beer, like when it's hot and people say beer is so refreshing. And I think, oh my God, I wish I would like beer, because right now would be the perfect time for me to have a beer.
Yeah.
Right? So it's part of the whole programming. It's like, why would I even say that when I drink a fruit juice and I'm happier?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like beer. I don't like beer. And I'm thinking, I wish I liked beer so I could get refreshed. It's like, have a lemonade, right?
Yeah.
And it's part of the stuff that we get fed. So where have we, in our subconscious mind, that is 95% what rules our actions, telling us that we need that cigarette or we need that beer?
Yeah. Well, that comes, that's like the, if you watch a film where the man gets sent to the firing squad, he has his last meal, but as he's standing there about to put the blindfold on, what do they offer him? A cigarette. It is made, these subliminal messages are all through our society. And what does that do? That is like the most precious thing in the world before you die. You could do anything before you die, but what are they telling you? The most precious thing in the world is a cigarette. And that is what you are. This is where this comes from. You're glamorous for the women. It's to look sexy and fabulous. And for the men, it's your John Waynes, your tough guys, get that smoker's voice. It's, as husky and sexy as well. And that's where it is. You used to, when I was a kid, I remember the cigarette adverts on the billboards and everything. And they've taken that away now. But it's not gone. It's not gone by far. Yeah, John, please click in.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Hannah. Okay, so listen, I get it. You're right. Marketing is very powerful, and it is on a subconscious level. If you think back to the original, most sexiest, handsome, stunning, dashing James Bond, Sean Connery, he was a badass. He liked that cigarette, that casino, all sexy, and they say, your name, Bond, James Bond. And I don't, I'm a fitness buff and I'm a freak with that, but I'm like, that's hot. And all the ladies, and he's talking that, right?
Yeah.
Bro, and it gets in your head. So I see the whole psychological, man, that's hot. Bond, James Bond. So that's number one. So look, guys, and maybe the ladies, but the guys, being a health, fitness, loving it. I'm just saying, there's something in life that I think is very precious and loving, and especially if you're in a healthy relationship, it's called your intimacy time. Intimacy time. So guys, your cardiovascular system, not just your heart, but they all go to everywhere. That blood supply, the oxygen's got to get there. So from what I've heard from studies, that nicotine smoke causes plaquing of the arteries, atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries. So let's say the pipeline to everywhere in your body is like supposed to be 100%. What if it's like 50% or 25% occluded now? So there's certain parts of the anatomy just not going to function the way you kind of could optimally, and that's not fun for nobody. And it causes, so there's lots of negative detractors to it besides physical performance at the gym or your sports or your cognitive function, because you get less blood supply to your brain. But Hannah was right, your thyroid gland and your adrenal system, but also your peak performance behind closed doors is going to be, could be bad. And no blue pill, no Cialis pill fixes that. So I just want to add that. That's
Good.
Another thing that
Thank you very much, John.
You're welcome.
And that brings me nicely to a point about why my course is going to be different, because listening to him there, if I'd listened to that 12 months ago, I would have got very anxious, and the desire, that need, I would have to smoke a cigarette. Because that's what it does when you hear those scary stories. They make you anxious, and what do? You reach for your little crutch, your friend there, to help relieve that. So my course is not going to go into scare tactics. I'm not going to pump you with you're going to get lung cancer or anything like that. That's not going to work. My course is going to make this easy, and it's going to make it fun. It's actually going to be fun. And when you're done, you're going to look back and just go, man, why did I wait this long? Seriously. This is a no-brainer. 27 euros. Try it. If it doesn't work, then I'll give you your money back. Seriously, but it's going to work. It's going to work. And if you really need help, I am working on a Prime product as well, and this will be me here tutoring you. It's not going to be a video series where you do this by yourself. I will be there for 2 months, personally helping you through the whole process to get you from a regular, a part-time, a social, or whatever type, seriously heavy smoker to a non-smoker in 8 weeks. And that is usually 2,000 euros. But when I hear that it's £12 a pack a day, and if we take Hannah's cousin, that's £24 a day. Okay, so in 4 times, that's 440 days. 40 days, that's half the price. So in 2.5 months, 3 months, you will have paid off my Prime product. But I'm not going to give it to you today for 2,000 euros. That's going to have a special webinar price of $497. And I've got a special money back guarantee with this one. If you get through the course and you're still smoking by the end of it, I'll give you all your money back. If you smoke for 2 weeks and you start again, you just post a video of you smoking a cigarette, and I will give you back all that money, but I will keep the money that you've saved. So for 2 weeks, at £12 a day, that's like 100. I'll keep 150 euros, and I'll give you the rest back. Okay. Any more questions? Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Right. Come on, Philip. You want to. You need this. Leisha, were you vaping earlier? Click in, Leisha, please. No, I can't hear you. Talk to me.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I stop and start all the time, so.
Yeah, we all do. When I was smoking 10 a day, I stopped and started all day long.
Yeah.
I
I basically vape when I come home after my day, so. But it's not nicotine based, it's the fruit one.
Okay.
I'm not making excuses.
So you're not a nicotine addict, is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay. You just like the taste.
But I did used to smoke when I was a lot younger, but I gave up about 8 years ago.
Okay.
But it's the weirdest thing that happened to me, because it's like I had a life-saving operation and I came out of the anaesthetic and I just wanted to vape.
Right.
I don't know what happened. And it's really bad because I'm really into my health and fitness. And that's the one bad thing that I do. But Hannah just pointed out that there's stuff in it still that you're inhaling. So I've got to sort of, knock it on its head really and stop it.
That's it. If you're just going with fruit flavors, just eat some fruit. Seriously.
I do. I know, right? Yeah, it's just something to do. It's a really poor excuse, I know.
Yeah. So is riding a bike. It's something to
right.
do. Well, listen.